You've just stepped into the Midlife Revolution Unleashed, your space to ignite possibility, redefine purpose, and embrace the power that comes with age and experience. Co-hosted by yours truly, Coach Wayne.
And I'm Coach Stacey M. Lewis. We are two seasoned coaches focused on the midlife community of color. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. In a world that sometimes forgets the power and the wisdom that comes with age, we are here to ignite a revolution and rewrite the narrative of this incredible journey.
So, whether you're navigating your career, growing your business, rediscovering passions, or challenging the status quo, this is your space. So, buckle up. Let's dive into the Midlife Revolution Unleashed. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Coach Wayne riding solo today on Midlife Revolution Unleashed. It's the 23rd of what are we at? The 25th of March. So we're deep in the first quarter, and I hope that you have been doing well thus far. I work with men of color and help them through midlife so that their second half can be their best half. Notably absent today is my co-host, Coach Stacey M. Lewis, who works with women in midlife and helps them as well to land safely, comfortably, and successfully on their second half. And she's also an executive for a non-for-profit. But Stacey is out today as she is currently going through the loss of her mother. So if you are able to, please give Stacey a holler and just let her know that your prayers and your well wishes are with her as she is going through the loss of her mom. Stacey, we are with you, and the Most High is with your mom. So I hope you're finding a way of dealing with this and somehow celebrating the gift of the time that she was given to share with you. Now, I know that sounds for some a little callous when we talk about loss and celebration. Just this past couple of weeks ago, I was asked to be a participant in the celebration, the memorial celebration of a very dear friend and mentor, Dr. Cynthia Grace, who has left us. And her husband, Gary, called and said, Wayne, I think I need for you to come through and not just pray with us, but say a few words. And I was happy to do that. And indeed, it was a celebration because sometimes we are focused on the absence of a loved one, and we get lost in our own feelings and our own heads about what is going on and what is about to be absent. So it's really we tend to focus on ourselves in not a conscious way, but subconsciously or unconsciously, we get caught in our own heads. What are we going to do without mom? What are we going to do without our dear husband? And that's tough, but it's real. And so today, what I'd like to do is share with you some steps, maybe 4 steps that you can take, we all can take to fare stronger or better, or I don't want to use the word strong because that sort of takes us down another road, which I would rather leave, and that is that man box that our men, Black men especially, find themselves in. You know, when there's somebody attending, say, a funeral or the home of a man, especially in our community, that has suffered a grave loss of a child, a sibling, whomever it is. Oftentimes we go over and we hug that man or we pat him on the shoulder, and what do we say? Stand strong for the family, bro. Stand strong for the family. It's unnecessary. It's probably even unkind, because mourning and grieving is a natural part of the human psyche. And emotionally, we have to be able to release. And so today I want to talk to you all about how we do that in a way that allows us a chance to let it out and to soothe ourselves or process however we will. There is no time frame and no special right or wrong way to mourn and to grieve, but it is. So let's start off with the 5 stages that one goes through in terms of having a loss. And by the way, these are not just stages that you'll go through in the way of a loss to a deceased person, someone who has passed on, transitioned, but also in the way of relationships after a divorce, a separation. You know, a child moves away and just blocks us out of their life, so to speak. We go through these areas of mourning, and sometimes not always in this order, but here they are, the 5 stages of separation and mourning. Let me. So today we're talking again about healing hearts, coping with the loss of a loved one, and now let's talk about the 5 stages. There's denial, and you must have all remembered hearing for the first time that someone you know just didn't make it the next morning, and you probably saw them last week, spoke to them, went to their event, even you were planning to do something together, perhaps a cruise in the future. The fact is that they're very alive and well in your mind because that's how you saw them last. Or not. You may have seen them and had a sense that they were going to be gone soon. But man's time is not God's time. And so we're never ready, no matter what. And so when we hear the news, or when the person whom we love is no longer with us, a divorce, unless it's a very toxic divorce, but even then, the habit of having the person around, there's a sense of denial. We almost can't believe this is happening to us. This is not true. This is not happening. And so after the denial, there's the period as well of anger, and anger sets in because you're figuring, why my father, when he passed, he was the youngest of several brothers. And when he passed, I remember my uncle in New York, when I went to visit with him, older brother, he just started crying. He says, why him? Why not me? God, take me. Look at me. You know, I'm ill. I'm in pain. Hilton, my dad's name. He's young. Why not me? And he was angry. He was angry with God. And we oftentimes get to that place where we are angered because perhaps something that we didn't quite get done, or we wish we had done differently in terms of the relationship. And so I tell people all the time, the men that I work with in coaching, it makes sense to re-examine your values. You're busy. Sometimes you're too busy planting flags, taking care of the world of business, and you forget and take for granted that the people that you left at home are always going to be there. And when you lose somebody, unfortunately, there's this anger and guilt. And then there is the bargaining phase. The third phase that is mentioned here is the bargaining phase. And that's the phase where you start really having that conversation with your creator or even with yourself. And you start wishing that it hadn't gone that way. You start putting your cards on the table. If only I had known. You know, they say that nobody goes to their deathbed saying that they wish they had put more hours in at the office. We start hoping that we had spent some time, that office time, finding work-life integration, right? Finding a chance and making the time to sit with people who really matter and sharing with them the things that really matter. Relationships, they matter. And so when we are facing loss and grieving, we put the bargaining chips out, and it's a little too late for that. And then there is depression. And this is one that, by the way, can stay with us for a very long time. Depression. And people oftentimes get so depressed that they forget about self-care. Don't comb their hair, don't change their clothing, even stop taking baths or not regularly, drinking, drugging, driving recklessly. Depression, just getting away from folks and burying themselves deeply in a dark space. Well, it's easy to say to someone, snap out of it, don't get depressed. But when it gets to that stage, oftentimes, and we'll talk about that, intervention is necessary. And then there is the stage of acceptance. When you've lost someone that you care about deeply in love, there is acceptance as the final phase. And acceptance doesn't mean if the person had a lifestyle that you didn't condone and you accepted that they drove themselves to their early death, for example. Acceptance doesn't mean that you're condoning it. Acceptance just means that you are accepting, you're receiving the reality for what it is. You no longer have to walk by that window looking for that person, hoping that one day they're going to show up and this was all a bad nightmare. You have come to grips with the reality that they have moved on. And so once you have gone through that, it's time to pick your life up and deal with what is, not as you would have it be. So I want to share with you four strategies that can help to not overwhelm you in the grieving process of a loss of a loved one. And the first one is just allowing yourself, giving yourself permission, right, to grieve, giving yourself permission to grieve. And that simply means taking the time to do what you got to do, how you have to do it, when you have to do it, right? And where you got to do it. You just got to grieve. And if you feel like doing it, do it. There's no need to be the man and to be strong and to pretend. Let it go. Because if you hold on to the stuff, one day you're either going to explode or implode. And we see in my work so many men, and I'm sure Stacy can speak for that when she's on, women who contain their emotions, their anger, their disappointment, their fears, whatever it is. And it comes back to haunt them and the people that are closest to them, whether it's their family members or their colleagues at work, their neighbors, because it has to go somewhere. So we're suggesting, or I'm suggesting, that you allow yourself the time, give yourself permission to grieve. Take some time and allow that to happen. And by the way, you can schedule the time. Now, I know that sounds pretty formal, but if you're having a very hectic, busy day, you can truly plan to just say, this afternoon after lunch, I'm going to go take a moment in my study by the beach, and that's my time. You can plan that time and then give your permission to just do what you do. The second way that I'm recommending that you may handle losing someone in a way that's healthy is to create memories in the way of a scrapbook, a memory book. And of course, I'll talk about this as it connects to the next point right after. But you might want to pick up little memorabilias, a card or cards that the person had given you that meant a lot. You know, the first movie ticket when you had your first date, you want to keep that. Now, you're not going to spend all your time just going through this and keeping yourself in that dark place, but just so that you can feel attached somewhat or not feel guilty of just letting go, you might want to do this. And even in your time that you have allocated for grieving, you might go through and put this memory book together, this scrapbook together, where you have very special memorabilia. In some cultures, I know the Yoruba cultures, they create shrines for their loved ones who have gone, the ancestors, as a way of honoring and remembering them. Oh, we do it in our world every day. You walk down the street right now and you go to a square, you're likely to see the statues of folks who have gone. That's a form of memorizing, as it were, or keeping alive the memories of folks who you honored who have gone. And so you can do that on a more personal scale at home. And then number 3 is to adjust your environment. And what do I mean by that? I'm glad you asked. Adjusting your environment. If you have a life-size portrait of, say, your mother in the living room and you are grieving heavily and you are triggered every time you see that portrait and you spend the majority of your time passing that portrait or in the living room, then you might want to move the portrait into a space where it's not as apparent or obvious. So you control your exposure to the trigger, right? If you had a collection of items that you collected together and they're sitting openly out, well, it's okay. Give yourself permission. You can move those on to another family member or sell them. See, one of the things that a lot of folks are not willing to accept is that when you survive your spouse, your family member, whomever it is, you get caught up in this mode of sorrow. It's a vicious cycle oftentimes. You can't get out of it. But for the most part, if you were able to check in, the person who has moved on would probably just be happy to know that you are happy, that you have moved on, that you're doing well. And so, as part of honoring that memory, do well as best as you can. And number 4, and this is a big one. And again, I go back to Black men, but this is a man thing across the board. And that is showing your emotions. We have oftentimes a low level of emotional intelligence because we have been brought up to believe that men don't cry, that you got to toughen up, that you got to be hard, that you, again, be strong for the family. You know, don't be a crybaby, man up. And what does it all mean? I think that there's a difference with just breaking down out of control. You may need some intervention there. But if you are able to allow yourself the reality to be human and to feel and to express, that's being manly. That's manning up. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather have a father or a brother or a spouse, wife, sister, who expresses the range of emotions of a full human being than someone who is so hard in the heart that you can't really see their authentic self? So controlled and contrived that you can't, like a stone heart. So one of the ways that I recommend that my clients, and I have been there myself, deal with a loss is through seeking support, this support of people who love and care about you, people who want to see you win, people who want to see you healthy, people who want to see you heal. And these don't have to be professionals. Go play some dominoes around some friends who will take your mind off of it, who will help you to sort of adjust and fit back into the real world. And be willing to hire a therapist, a trained, licensed therapist, one who will listen and allow you to just pour out and give you feedback or guide you in a healthy and helpful way. And then, of course, there are the coaches, life coaches, grief coaches, who also, as trained professionals, can help you to moderate and monitor your feelings during the course of a loss of a loved one. These are things that are powerful. And these are things that can get you through your day with some sunlight rather than a deep, dark abyss during the course of a loss. So it's possible to mourn and to grieve, and you should. And there's no limits in terms of the time frame that you set for yourself or others. Be kind and gentle to yourself. But as you do this, just be mindful. Be in the present. And be intentional. So here's some takeaways just to wrap up. I want us to look at these as take homes for us that you can do for yourself or share with somebody that you care about. Remember to give the mourner or the person who is grieving permission. That could be yourself. Give yourself time, space, the energy to mourn, just permission to grieve. It's okay. This is my time to grieve. Give yourself that time. And then number two, don't forget to create memories that can last, but at the same time, you want, put it this way, you want lasting memories, but at the same time, you don't want to be immersed in that to the point where you keep triggering yourself over and over. So bring out the book, the memorabilias, when you want them out, but don't spend all your time just going through and over all this stuff. Oh, I got to go through the jewelry box again. And you've done this every day, 4 times a day. That's self-defeating. Don't do that. And number 3, control your space and environment. You want to have a space and environment where it's not a living shrine. You don't want to feel like you're in a mausoleum where everything around you is a part of the deceased. Your college kid goes off to school and they're married and gone, and yet you still have the same SpongeBob SquarePants bed sheets and pillowcases and that room has not been touched. Let it go already. Move on. You got to move forward, right? And allow yourself to just breathe and be normalized. So let it go. And seek support. A trusted friend, partner, a trained professional therapist, coach, someone that can hear you and don't judge you and support you, and someone who's not enabling you at the same time. So I want to say that all of that is important and very possible as you and I will go through unfortunately, many stages of dealing with losses. And we just have to make sure that we know it's part of life and we're ready for it. So again, Stacy, my friend, my good sister, Audrey and I, and many others have been pouring into you and to your family, saying that our condolences to the loss of your dear mom. And we hope to see you back whenever you're ready to be back. But in the meantime, Stacy, stay well, stay healthy, and God be with you. Folks, we're getting out of here. It's that time. We're going to do it again next week, same time. And to reach Stacy, of course, Coach Stacy, simply have to get to her on the StacyMLewis.com, at Stacy at the StacyMLewis.com. And for myself, I'm Wayne, the VIP coach. You can find me at Wayne Dawson VIP at Gmail for my personal email. Make it fast for the folks who are listening here. Or go to my site, which is VIPtransformativeliving.com, VIPtransformativeliving.com. And do me a favor. Go in there and hit the book a call so that you can have a gifted call with me to see if we're a good fit and we can work through something together. So until next time, same place, I'll see you at the top. And there you have it, folks. This week's episode of the Midlife Revolution Unleashed. Hey, we truly appreciate your spending this time in this space with us. Join us next week at the same time as we dive into relevant topics and present solutions to spark new thinking and empower your midlife journey.
And don't forget, if you enjoyed today's episode, let us know in the comments and share it with others. And of course, remember to subscribe, share, like, hit that notification bell. You are the Midlife Revolution Unleashed. I'm Coach Stacy, and I'm cheering you on.
And I'm Coach Wayne, and I'll see you at the top.